basically we started off, we found that there was a blogger doing this New York City taxi data demo a few months back at various different technologies. It was an open benchmark, so we thought it was pretty cool because we do some benchmarking already, but we do it with the staff benchmarking, which is the Security Technology Analysis Center. It's restricted to finance. It's pretty cool because it's an independent benchmarking, but unfortunately we and another company are the only two database companies that have done it because all the rest of them are not very good. So basically, we went along, we saw that a lot of people have done this benchmark already. There was an independent blogger who had done it, and we just thought, well, we want to get in on this game, we can take on a lot of these other pretenders in the market, as it were. So basically, the data is all freely available from the New York City Taxi Limousine Commission website. It's data from 2009 onwards, and it includes actually lit data now, I believe, as well. And it's all in CSV format. Well, it's actually gzip CSVs. And so we used the named pipe, and we actually just piped the data in, so the feature in 3.4. And it's about 1.2 billion records in total. And so in the data set, it's pretty simple stuff, and not too many fields. So it has geolocation, so you know your lat long, and so where the trip started, where the trip ended, and the fare, the tip. So you can tell Europeans from Americans. And then the distance information, along with timestamps as well. Yeah, next slide, please. So overall, then we obviously ran the benchmark ourselves. In KDB, uncompressed, it's about 450 gigabytes in total. So not particularly large, but still, you know, we're trying to do apples-to-apples comparisons with these other database technologies. So let's play them with their own game. So it was run on the Intel Xeon Phi and version 7210. So I think it's 64 cores, not too fast cores, about 1.3 gigahertz. I know the later versions that are coming out are about 1.7 gigahertz. And overall, it was run over 4 nodes, and the data was shared. It was a shared node and repository over 4 nodes. And the machines had about 128 gigabytes of RAM, so we couldn't fit the entire data set in RAM. We were very cognizant of that. So there's 4 threads per core, basically. And we actually found when we did the testing, it was around half of that we actually kind of utilized. That was a sweet point, because otherwise we were just getting too much of a context switch overhead. I don't know if this is me. Yeah, push it down a bit, sorry. Can you still hear me okay? Yep. Yeah, cool. And so basically, you have the link here, as you can see the blog post that we did in it. And here are the 4 queries in question, along with some nice syntax items from the tool you're about to see in a few minutes' time. So if we move on to the next slide. So we initially ran it on 4 cores. Here are the 4 query timings in milliseconds, and then we ran some other tests. We ran not 4 cores, but 4 nodes rather. And then we ran some later tests on 7 nodes, and then we ran some later tests using 14 nodes to do apples-to-apples comparisons with some of the other vendors. And it turns out we're the fastest CPU database benchmark. Hardly much of a surprise to anybody here who knows KDB. But we're actually just the fastest database in general now. So the 14 node example actually beat the GPU database. So GPUs, there we go. And the list of the actual benchmarks, you can go and see all the different tests. So like there's Spark, Presto, Amazon Redshift. So there's a variety of different solutions up there. We haven't actually released this 14-node benchmark yet, because we're going to be talking about it at the Intel Developer Conference in New York next week. So if you're around for that, please stop by the X talk. So we'll hopefully be releasing that. So it's not publicly available on that benchmark link. You'll just see the other benchmark. But you'll see the queries. I think we're already faster than 3 of the benchmarks that are already there. It's just the first one, and it's unfortunate that the guy actually orders it by the first query. Oh.
This is an IT guy.
Oh, cool. I think it's just a microphone. Is that better?
Yeah,
it's just making a scratching noise every now and then, but I'm not here. Maybe should get a title. No, yeah, it's doing that. Is it affecting the flow too much?
No.
Okay. And then it's there's more to come, so I'll be releasing these benchmarks publicly, and we'll get more information, so you get a sneak peek here tonight. So then we basically thought, well, you know, we have this tool, Analyst for KX. It's an interactive tool for encouraging the data exploration and visualization. And we can do faster and easier assembly via pre-built libraries. We have flexible tools to engage customization. Because we started showcasing this first in the supercomputing convention in Salt Lake City in November of 2016. And we put together some custom kind of visualizations ourselves, just using WebSockets and hooking up to Google Maps. But then we were kind of like talking, and we were like, wait, we already actually have a tool that we built ourselves called Analyst, which can actually hook the data up and do all the Q coding all in one environment. environment and do the visualizations as well. So that's why we thought we'd tie this all together tonight. So next slide, please. So basically then the question is, who would use the Analyst environment? And so it's kind of like everybody. So it's one of the things that's for Q developers, as we'll see later, it does have an integrated development environment. You can start doing your Q coding, your syntax highlighting, etc. But then it's also non-Q developers, as we'll see with certain other elements. There's several different facets. So the idea being that you can take advantage of the power of PDB Plus and the power of Q language, but you don't actually have to do the Q language yourself. As some people, obviously not most of us here, because we're sane. And most people maybe don't like Q so much, so we want to access that and grow outside of our traditional user base. And then there's a lot of data scientists that want to use it as well. Obviously they can be Q coders and non-Q coders. And then we've got technical analysts and also non-technical analysts. So as we'll see tonight, as Nicolle goes through the demo, we'll see various different facets. Next slide, please. So it starts off that basically this is kind of what you start off with. So it's this interactive IDE. It has this various facets, so it has the idea of a shared workspace, a local repository and global repository, which we'll see in a second. It has an interactive script editor, so you can go in, edit your code, debug your code, test your code. And it has a console-like environment, so it's not too unfamiliar to most of us here. And then we also have test support, QuickCheq support, and grammar graphic stuff, which we'll get onto a little later, which is quite nice. Next slide. So this is kind of the bigger view of what it kind of looks like. So you see on the left-hand side here, you basically have your local workspace, and you have your remote workspace. And this is basically all of your features here. So you've got Q code, you've got save functions, so you can save all different types of artifacts. It's not just Q scripting. And then you can save actual database connections, and you can also save, this is the charting, which we'll get into. So you see there's various different facets. It's not just saving data or saving Q code. And then here's your environment here. So here's obviously you can see the nice syntax highlighting, which we'll see in a second. And then you see your actual console output here. So next slide, please. And it also comes with a spreadsheet built in. So it's basically HTML. So all of this is browser driven, by the way. So it's all HTML5 running their code, all browser based. And you can do actual spreadsheet. So basically you can load billions of records into one individual cell, and then you can actually select from that cell. So say select from C5 where data equals blah and x equals blah. And then you can display the information in different formats. The scripting is all using the Q language, as you'll see up here, and we'll go through some examples in a second. But you can also actually do stuff like actually plug in customized JavaScript code. So you'll see you have the idea of doing drop-downs and configuring the actual spreadsheet itself. So it's kind of like Excel, except it's on steroids and it's actually backed by KDB. So it's pretty powerful. So we'll just get to that point. So yeah.
Is this an internal server? I mean, they don't have to be connected to the internet.
You do, yeah. So this is all server-based and browser-based. So we have a server running in it as Apache Tomcat. But actually, we do have a build available for Windows as well, so it could entirely be built entirely within your infrastructure.
Okay, so it could have internal...
Exactly, yeah. If you're on Windows, yeah, you can do it entirely, yeah. And we don't have a Mac build available, but, we'll get there. So I guess at this point, I'll actually hand over to Nicolle. We'll actually go through some of the tools, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll go back to some of the other components on it. So I'll turn off my mic as well.
I'm going to try it. Is this on? Oh, now it's on. Okay. I'm going to try this microphone, and hopefully it works out better. So great. So when you first log into Analyst, and it's not up here, and that's
yeah, exit out of it.
Great. Okay. So when you first log into Analyst, you have the option to to create a new PDB process or attach to one. So if you have an RDB running in the background, you can attach your workspace to that RDB, and you can also choose the slates that you would like to use. So I will connect. And all of your workspaces that you have available will be listed here. So from here, you can also create new workspaces or delete workspaces as well. So when you log into Analyst, this is typically what you'll see. Everything that you do in a workspace will be saved, so you don't have to worry about copying things to a file as backup. Everything's saved right in the workspace. As Fintan mentioned before, we have the remote option, which lists all of your repositories, and all you have to do is right-click and hit load to load a repository into your workspace. Your workspace is basically comprised of your repositories and everything in them. For instance, I have this demos repository, and under that I have a module which is basically a namespace, and then everything in that namespace from my visuals, which you can see visuals here, which is pretty nice, all of my functions, my key scripts, table transformations, which I'll talk about a little bit later, and then spreadsheets as well. So just load some data in really quickly. Cool, so I'm basically just running a simulation script right now to get some data loaded in. And to execute data, it's just Control-D, and as you can tell in the console below, everything gets outputted, so you can kind of get a feel for what your data looks like or any other outputs. So I loaded in a table called taxi schema, and as you can tell, it's updating in real time right there. So what I can do is I can open up the spreadsheet. So the really cool thing about the spreadsheet is it's very similar to Excel, so if anyone's really comfortable with Excel, this will be quite convenient to them. The really neat thing is that the entire table can be stored in a singular cell, so you don't have some million-row Excel file that you're trying to parse through. Your entire table is right here, and you can hover over the cell to get a feel for what your data looks like. Similarly, you can write queries directly in the cell itself. So right here, I'm basically just summing up the quantity of the taxi fare by payment type. So you can see that a lot more people are paying cash or paying more with cash than credit or debit. So you can have a bunch of these queries here. And as Fintan mentioned before, for anyone that's comfortable using JavaScript, you can write your own JavaScript code into these spreadsheets as well. So you can do things like drop-down boxes and things like that, so you can aggregate your data in a nice format.
I think that's it for the first part, so we're going to take a quick 5-minute break, 5 to 10 minute break, so people can use the restroom, etc. And actually just going back to the point on the workspaces, that's actually all backed up by Git under the hood, and so it's quite neat. So yeah, we'll take about a 5 to 10 minute break, so people can take a refreshment and then we'll get back. Okay? Okay, so then another component, and this is the part that I think appeals a lot to the, say, the non-traditional KDB and Q developers, is what we call our data transformer. So it's basically the idea is you can do a lot of ETL, just using drag and drop boxes, configuring your data types. So you can load in data from various different formats. It could be CSV format, JSON format, over ODBC connections, or it can be from KDB as well. So that's both by partitioned and in-memory data, so all the different KDB, all the data types are supported as well. So the idea being that it's all point and click and file operations, and then obviously Nicolle will go through this in a few seconds, but you see this general kind of workflow, and then you can actually save these transformations down into that workspace that we saw earlier, so that's another artifact that you can save, and then obviously somebody else can reuse that then, so if you're doing something like maybe, like this is what we did with taxi data, that we took in those CSV files and we actually loaded them in and using this mechanism. So if we go to the next slide. So part of it, obviously the first part of it is obviously importing your data. And so what you can do is you can choose a file. So the table name might be called total, you select your input, and then you can actually change between the data types. So it does something like what the CSV guest.q script does under the hood, where it tries to map the data types. But then obviously if there's stuff like you have it as a string and you want to change it to a symbol, you can change the data types, you can also change the names, and you can do some sanitizing on the data, so it's all very interactive, but with no Q coding whatsoever. But it is running KDB Plus under code, so you still get the speed and power of KDB under the hood. So next slide. It has all of the KDB data types mapped as well, so all of the nanosecond timestamping, etc., and GUIDs, etc. And then there's also a connect component of that. Once you've done all your ETLs, you can start actually playing around with the data. So this is a more interactive fashion. You can pop up this new window and you get this visual inspector. So it means that you can actually load huge data sets in real time, and then you can modify the attributes of this data. You can brush the data, data interrogation and data tumbling, so you can see there's various different types. And then at the top here, you've got your data, which is just a table name that you can actually put in a full query. And then in this drop down here, you've got a variety of different types of visualizations you can do. You can do simple line charts, bar charts, histograms, heat maps, you can do Google Maps and other geospatial mapping as well. And then once again, you can also save these inspections as well. So you can just send this and publish this to an end user. So next slide. And then another cool thing that we've done is we've actually built a grammar of graphics library, which will actually plug directly into this tool. And it plugs into one of our other dashboarding tools, which we'll be discussing in a follow-up meetup as well. So the idea of the grammar of graphics is that Leland Wilkinson devised it. So you can basically just describe your visualizations and just write them out in core code. So it's well worth reading this book, it's pretty cool. So this has been imported. So you can do all various different types of visualizations by just typing qcode in the library. So it's just a list of functions and you just append to these functions. So it's not even like the difficult like adverbs or anything like that. It's actually just simple library calls it, and you can create all these different types of visualizations very easily. Next slide. And then there's also qcode driven visualization. So here's just a simple example where we've actually got a plot matrix here. So you can see basically that we've taken all of these different facets. So this is actually from a diamond data set. And then you can just plot them and you get all of these images at the one time. So you can start interrogating these data sets and see, okay, oh, this actually looks like an interesting plot. So we'll then zoom in on this and you can just expand the data set. So it's quite interactive. And as you see here, it's just simple qcode, you're just calling functions, passing in values. That this is I want a 900 by 900 image. And what's happened is the image gets rendered on the server side as a PNG, and then it gets pushed across to the browser side. So all the heavy lifting and all the rendering is done on the server side, so you don't need a very, very heavy graphics card on your desktop for this. Next slide. And then we also built in layered grammar of graphics, so this kind of came after. So those of you familiar with R are familiar obviously with ggplot2, which is probably one of, if not the most popular library for plotting in the R and the world of R. And so I want to move on to the next slide. The idea here is that you can actually start stacking your plots. So it's not just like one single plot you can do, you can actually just append onto your code. So you basically just create a list, so you're just using comma. So as you see here, we've got 3 different types of maps. And then you can just actually stack them all on top of each other, all just via code. So it's quite nice. It's just a few lines of code to do something like that. And then next slide. Another thing, we've also got a unit testing framework built into the Analyst tool, which is called qCumber. Nice little pun. So the basic name, based on the naming conventions, you just right-click and do an individual test. You get the test files associated with functions, and then you can run all of these test files associated with a given module. So it's basically runs across the board. Next slide. And you see it's called plus.qc. And then we've also got QuickCheq, which is property-based testing. So you've got all these different types of testing frameworks built directly into this tool. And so at this point, I'll hand it over to Nicolle. I'll actually hold it for Nicolle.
Great, thanks, Fintan. So as Fintan mentioned before, you can do all of your ETL in this platform. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys is the table importer. So as you can see, you can import a CSV file, a KB table, and JSON. So I'm going to import a CSV file really quickly. So I have just a quick example of a CSV file for the purposes of the demo. So as you saw, this is very similar to the screenshot, so you can rename the table, you can either overwrite or append to an existing table if you have additional data you need to add. And you can also select the number of records to import, so if you only want to import 100, 1,000, or 10,000 records, you can do that here. And as Fintan mentioned before, you can sanitize the column, so if you have spaces or weird symbols in the CSV file that you're importing, if you hit sanitize, it'll do all that cleansing for you. And it does do kind of similar to the CSV guest, but you can change those types here as well. You can also deselect or select any columns that you want. So if you only want to import, say, 4 columns, you can hit this and then select the 4 that you want. So it's really easy and nice to use. And then after that, you can either go directly to our table transformer, which I'll show in a second, or you could actually export and save that down to disk if you would like. So it's a pretty handy tool. So the next thing I'm going to show you is our table transformer. So I've loaded a table that we have in disk and memory. It's called Total. It's almost 85 million records of our taxi data. It's the raw taxi data. And what I'm going to do is a series of transformations on it. So as you saw in the screenshot, on the left-hand side we have a tree of all of the transformations. And it's really nice because you can kind of switch them up, edit them, delete them, whatever you need to do. This is only showing 50 records of the table, but every time you do a transformation, transformation, it is actually doing it on the entire table. And of course, you have the power of KDB for it to be really fast for you. And then what we have is once we're done all of our transformations, we save it in memory to a table called taxi. So I've already, for the purposes of the demo, run this, but just to add, you can save all of these transformations basically as a transformer function in your namespace. And so you can call that function on any table that you have. So you don't have to sort of redo this ETL transformation. You can always just run it as a function again and again. As you can see, if I do a count there, it's almost 83 million records, so it did some cleansing, got rid of some records from the original taxi set. So the next thing I'm going to show you guys is the ggplot library, which I think is really, really cool. So you can save any of the plots that you want to look at as functions, basically. So I'm going to run this one really quickly. It takes a second, because it is running on the whole data set. So there's two ways you can do it. You can either have it output as sort of a separate console tab below. So you can see we're actually looking at for each month the total tip and count. So it's the number of taxi rides, and then the darker blue color it is, it's kind of like the higher the sum of the tip amount that we received. But I can also open it up here as a saved image. Bigger. Takes a second to load in, but there it is there. I'm just selecting from the table. And here's kind of where you can do some customization. So selecting the exact column you want, selecting how you want to do bins, etc. And here are all of the different charting types that we have. So you can have just the raw table here, you can have scatter plot, a line chart, Google Maps, anything like that. And then any sort of qSQL query that you can imagine writing, you can visualize. So I could do something like select from taxi where ptime.year equals 2015, for instance. And then that will render in a couple seconds. And now, similar to the screenshot that you guys saw in the PowerPoint, we're now looking for January of 2015. So whatever you can imagine writing in Q, you can visualize with ggplot, which is really nice. Another really cool visual that we have is the scatter plot. So, just pull this up. So basically, I'm summing the tip by hour and day for January 2015. So at first glance, they kind of look like a really cool pattern, but it's actually super informative. For instance, this big block of dots here is New Year's. So, New Year's Eve, everyone goes out, celebrates midnight, 1 or 2 a.m. We have a huge influx of tips. So there's bigger dots. And then you can see sort of during the evenings after work, people are taking taxis to events here and there. We have bigger dots as well. We also have a day that really has nothing, so maybe you can infer, oh, there was a snowstorm that day, and then look to see we had too many taxis on the road, we lost money that day. So it's a really good, cool way to visualize your data. The last plot that I want to show you guys is the Google Map plots. So I've written a cool script that will render some data based on the table that I loaded in previously. So what you're looking at here is Manhattan. And since this is simulated, it's technically updating in real time. So every time I render this map, it will change. But you're looking at all of the taxis that are currently in Manhattan right now. And the brighter the color basically means the more they spent. So it was a larger trip, more expensive trip, etc. So just a really cool way to view your data. Another thing I can run is this render lines chart. So what this is going to show you are all the taxi trips that originated from Penn Station. So let me just move this up a little bit. There we go. So you can kind of see like the little epicenter there, and then all of the trips that originated from Penn Station. So you can kind of see like how far out people go, or most people kind of stay around Manhattan and maybe go off to Jersey, but it's just another cool way to visualize your data using Google Maps. The last big thing that I want to mention is the qCumber and QuickCheq testing. So qCumber is the way to do unit testing. So I have a function called cache, and cache is going to do addition, basically. It's my version of the sum function. But as you can tell, I have x minus y here because I want to show the failure of the function. So all you need to do to run your unit testing is right-click and hit test. Go to the console. And as you can see, 2 of 3 of my tests failed. So it'll tell you the line where it failed, what it expected the result to be, and what the result was. So I say, okay, go back to my function. Oh, it's supposed to be plus here, so we'll change that and save it. Here's the console. And then we run this again, and all 3 of my tests pass. So really cool way to do unit testing. But if you want to kind of test more of the edge cases, you're going to want to do QuickCheq. So So I'm going to create a function called doubler. It's supposed to double a number, but I'm just going to add 2 to it to show the example of the QuickCheq. So I have defined a function x plus 2, and there's a built-in library .qch which has all of the QuickCheq functions for you. So it's going to run 100 tests on the fly for you to be sure that you're passing all of them. And now, of course, it failed after the first test because doubling number is not adding 2, it's multiplying by 2. So it'll show you kind of the counter example and details of what happened. So all I need to do, obviously, change that, rerun it, and then I'm going to execute my test. And now all of my tests have passed. So it's really nice that we now get unit testing and property-based testing.
I think that's about it, basically. So we're happy to answer questions around afterwards and give us feedback as well. A lot of it is like, is this appealing to the KDB community, or is this for people to get into the KDB community? Because I know from personal experience that would have been handy using this 10 years ago when I started learning Q programming, just to make it a bit easier. So yeah, any feedback you have, we'd be pretty happy to chat if you're actually interested, in playing around with it. So, so I think that's about it. So I have a few more beers. 4 more beers. I know there's cans. There's still plenty of cans. So we'll start rationing. And yeah, so if you have any questions or feedback, just let us know. Okay? Thanks very much, and we'll see you next time.